festive season is on the way. You may have feral cousins or annoying nieces and nephews about to swoop down. A local player, 4-player co-op game is always a good direction to keep them quiet in. We're going to go through a number of genres and span the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I am Couch Coop. What's this we're looking at? Never you mind. It might be in the list, it might not. Let's get things started. We are going back to 1991. It is Ollie Ollie, the original game, one of the only decent titles to come out of Roll 7. They've just had that Roller Dome release on Game Pass. This was where it all started with that studio and myself. Beautiful classic design, absolutely amazing PvP, and if you're into doing tricks and button combinations, this is just a winner. Very cheap as well. It's got to be coming up to 7-8 years old. Ollie Ollie. We just want to get Broforce out the way, a die-hard shoot-em-up platformer. It didn't appear in my latest platform shooter list, so a bit of love for it here. It does just about work in 4-player. This is probably not one for grandma, and it is extremely difficult. A staple feature on my channel for 7 years. I go back to this game constantly, and it's never left my hard drive. Broforce, what a classic. Okay, we've got two major arcade racers on this list. Sonic Team Racers is one of them. This is interesting because unlike Crash Bandicoot, this is very much co-op. So the campaign structure can be accessed by both of you or all 4 of you, or you can team up and actually go competitively against an objective. It looks absolutely stunning in that 4-player split. Runs incredibly both on the PlayStation 4 Pro and 5. You heard me mention Crash Bandicoot Racers earlier. That game is quite difficult. The NOS mechanic is not simple, and this, for the younger ones, be a bit more applicable, and it just looks far more vibrant. Guacamelee 2, what an absolute damned belter. A 4-player local co-op platforming game. Some of the most stunning visuals I've seen on an indie side-scroller. It also sports some absolutely awesome specials and enemies. This is huge, very attractive, massive boss fights, one of the best brawler platformer puzzlers I own. On the content front, this is just as strong as a 1-player game, and remember the front end, you've got to open up the local co-op in a sort of 20-minute introduction. Music is stunning with a sort of Mexican Day of the Dead theme, and there's not too much violence, blood or gore, so again, you could probably get the family involved with this one. Okay, if there was ever going to be an argument with a video game, it would probably happen during Speedrunners 2, a fiercely competitive 4-player local PvP that just keeps the mouth smiling. You will never stop chuckling at what happens to yourself or what you can do to everybody else. This is a game that revolves around trying to escape being eaten by the screen, and it also has a slight bit of class system. Some of your characters can do different things, and you can pick up power-ups on the fly. It can be secret alliances. You can pull someone who's winning right back to 4th place, so the Schadenfreude is strong here. Horizon Turbo Chase is a 4-player outrun homage. It's absolutely amazing. It's not like a kart racer where you're worrying about drops and pickups. There is a fuel system, but this is white knuckle arcade racing on a brilliantly running 4-player local split. I've played this game on a PlayStation 5, a PlayStation 4 Pro and a PlayStation 4, and it runs impeccably on all of the systems, and it's nice and cheap on the PSN store at the moment. Well worth looking at. Bandits thwacks you over the head with a baguette. This is a preferred game over Gang Beasts for me, but I have made this list before, but years ago, and I want the newer games to get the more attention. This is on Game Pass, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It's an impeccable 4-player PvP experience. It's the laughs that you'll get out of this one that will keep those feral cousins occupied, and the maps and the different heist systems. You can set it up so you're doing a robbery, someone comes back as a policeman. The loop is very funny, and the injuries, the lack of blood and gore makes this just about right for the entire family. The first of our head scratchers in the form of Tricky Towers. Now this game is years old, was never sequeled, and has an extremely healthy online system, but it's its local 2-player, 3-player and 4-player co-op that really make me smile. You can see what everyone else is up to. It's got a Tetris element, but also gravity's at play with your tower swaying and throwing, and everything can just be used to ruin the other player's day. That's the crux here, is you can really get one over on grandma potentially with this one. Because of its age, it's going to be extremely affordable now, and I put it together with Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. These two games sort of blend together perfectly, and you've got appearances from loads of other cool indie games. Just going a little bit back and a little bit obscure quickly, we've got the Gauntlet remake. Now this is not shouted about enough. This is made by the Helldivers people, and again that should be on this list, but I wanted to feature something slightly off the wall. Gauntlet was a classic local co-op arcade cabinet game, and it made it over to consoles. This is Arrowhead's triumph, I feel, in that direction. Looks amazing, you've got to communicate, brilliant specials. Diablo 4 is not 4-player local co-op. Let that sink in for a second. This beats it hands down when it comes to amazing arcade ARPG action. Mercenary Kings is supposed to be one of my hidden gems, but for some reason it keeps cropping up on all of my recent lists. Classic retro split screen action here with side-scrolling, puzzling and arcade shooting. This map is huge, it's almost got a Metrovania style opening system. There's a lot of mechanics at play here. It's a very deep game, doesn't get screamed about enough, and I personally love it. Games like this can normally be quite gimmicky. They're only really there to sort of grab the aesthetic and that 16-bit look, but this has got massive crafting, a weapon construction system, and a huge questing layout that's going to keep you occupied for like 35-40 hours plus.
May the winds of magic.
Keeping in the domain of giving Diablo 4 shtick for not having 4-player local co-op, we've got Chaos Bane, recently featured on my ARPG list that aren't Diablo 4, so I'll put the link in there. Very healthy Warhammer game in the Age of Sigma. You never know, one of the nephews might be a fan. Modern ARPGs like this are difficult to get all of the UI right and the HUD correct. You can see that all 4 players have got what they need. The game has a moving loot system, meaning you can go through your inventory without disturbing everybody. Chaos Bane is a definite top ARPG, especially on that 4-player local. Must have known this was coming. Chroncoid Wars 2, this is one of the best real-time strategy games available on the console, and to have it 4-player, this is the selling point. Both local and PvP is just such a gift. The local co-op involves a mission system. You go around the galaxy, you take over planets as 4 players or 3 or 2, and you can have this amazing PvP, which just does not end. It's kind of a tower defense, but you've also got an economy introduced, upgrades. This game is just way too massive and way too hidden. I want more said about it, please. Chroncoid Wars, cometh the man, cometh the comet.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
We're finally up in the top echelons now, and the best beat 'em up we've seen in years came out as a local co-op gem. It's also up to 8 to 6 players. This is actually Switch footage. To triumph this turned out to be, and its upgrade or sort of leveling mechanics against each turtle and the guest characters you can play are massive. It's huge. What a winner. Thank you so much for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Right, it's the first of the big boys in the form of the Ascent, one of my favourite twin-stick sci-fi cyberpunk shooters. This footage is very pre-patched. It came out on Game Pass, can you believe, way before you got to purchase it on a PlayStation 5. But I have reviewed the PlayStation 5 standalone. This game is very performance heavy. You've got ray tracing, particles everywhere. It's a true modern 4-player local co-op game, this. Brought in a quite in-depth 2-tier cover system for a twin-stick shooter. This game went through a lot of changes. It didn't come out the gates perfect, but this is how it looks now with all the patches and with 2 players. I will say it's a very hectic game. If you've got 4 people and maybe a couple of them don't know what's going on, you're best off concentrating on 2 to 3 because of the performance of this game. Okay, I think we're at number 2. This is Borderlands 2 running on a PlayStation 4. Still cope with it at 4-player local split, and it's quite an impressive game. That handsome collection isn't expensive at the moment, so if you're really into that Borderlands series, it's not a bad idea to go back and have a look at that 4-player local split on the original Borderlands 2. This is Borderlands 3 over on current gen systems, and look at how crisp this split is. Absolutely amazing. My only drawback with this is that 10th generation systems have quite expensive joypads, so I've only had the pleasure of enjoying this on a 2-player level, but I have witnessed it on 4-player and it runs impeccably. You do need to have either an X or a PlayStation 5, however. I do want to emphasize that these games at the top of the list are very 10th gen dependent, and because of their graphical requirements, having the split screen is important that the power is there, because the lag or the screen tear is just not good. I do hope some of my legacy subscribers or guys that are frequent in the comments, if you hadn't got your 5 yet, fingers crossed on this year, and it would be really great to hear that you've managed to step it up.
Big wretch! Big freaking wretch! No mercy! No mercy! It must die!
As a quick cheeky bonus ball, there might be a chance for the dads to sit down and have a good old bash, and it's Dirt 5. My god, this runs so well on current gen and PC 4-player flawless split, and of course you've got a campaign co-op content to enjoy. It's also PvP because everyone's going to be going for that winning spot.
You're a fate maker! I knew the Queen would send us a hero! The tomb is in the crypt below Castle Herostas. You must hurry before his minions.
The winner is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Because you've got that lack of gore, it's accessible to everybody. You've got that new angle to the Borderlands 3 content, and you've got a flawless 4-player split screen on current gen systems. I will stress that. This game does run quite well, dual split with 2 people on a PlayStation 4 Pro, but really the mecca is to put this on the 5 or the X and really enjoy that power. And the story's funny, everyone's going to be chuckling at this, swinging axes around and communicating to take down these giant skellies. This was Party Golf, by the way, and it's on my top sports games that aren't FIFA list that I'll link in the description. Thank you very much for watching that entire video. I, of course, was Couch Coop, and I will see you down there.
The unsubscribed must be punished. YouTube must face its destiny. Couch Coop must reign supreme. I've gone Yoda.